Welcome back to Simple Truth. We're in the story of Joseph. We're in Genesis chapter 44, picking it up with verse 13. We just finished last time with the brother Benjamin being found with a silver cup in his bag of grain. Not just any silver cup, but Joseph's silver cup. Not just any Joseph, but his brother Joseph's silver cup. Not just any brother Joseph silver cup, but his blood brother, like 100%, his only 100% brother. And Benjamin has no idea that he's being set up. When's the last time you had no idea you were being set up by God? When's the last time that you are going with the flow and you think that this whole thing is as real can be, and God's just allowing you to go through this test and he knows that he's going to make it all right in the end? When's the last time that you got called to the principal's office like I did when I was in 7th grade? I know for most of you, you are not imagining that that is a possibility, right? When I was in 7th grade, I got called to the principal's office, and my principal's name will remain nameless to protect the not innocent, but it actually rhymes with May, right? So I had this principal. On his wall hung one of those wooden paddles with holes in it. You know, the one that you can get really good, the air, it flows through the air, like it's not, there's nothing going to stop it from hitting your backside, right? And I entered 7th grade right after paddling had been decided was not such a good idea in the public school, right? So I got called down to his office. I had never been to the principal's office for anything before, right? I was a model student, a good boy, right? I don't even know that I ever thought about thinking about doing bad things. So I was called down to the office. Actually, it was so surprising to my teacher that they called down to ask if I really was supposed to go down there. That's how surprising it was, right? So I got my little pink pass and I went down to the office, and the secretary told me I could sit in the chair and wait for Mr. Mays, and she could tell. Like I was on the brink of crying because I was like scared to death, right? And he calls me in the office, and with fear and trepidation, I walk in and I sit down, and he was nice enough to call me Andy. He's like, Andy, have you ever been in the office before? And the answer is no. And he's like, well, listen, one of your teachers reported you as skipping class yesterday. Now, I was mortified because I've never skipped a class in my life, and I was trying to figure out what happened. And I was like, I was in my classes yesterday. I was in every one of my classes. And he's like, well, somehow there's a misunderstanding here, and we just really want to clear it up, because otherwise you're going to get detention and all these things. And I'm like, okay, well, I did this, and I ran through a schedule, and I got to 4th period, and I realized that in 4th period, I had band lessons. And I never went to my teacher and told them I had band lessons. I just went to the band lessons, right? It was the first week, and I didn't have a clue about how band lessons worked. In 6th grade, you just, the teacher actually told you when to go to band lessons, right? It was a scheduled thing. I went to band lessons, didn't even think about it, never reported to the class. The teacher then saw me throughout the day in other classes, thought I just skipped their class. Which, in fairness, total fairness, 7th grade English is something I would have skipped, right? But I didn't skip it. I was in band lessons. I was in the exact place I was supposed to be, right? But I hadn't told the person I was supposed to be there, and I ended up being accused of skipping class, right? I was in the right and being accused of the wrong, right? Being accused so much so that I would have gotten detention, would have tarnished my perfect, unblemished, never in detention record, right? And all that was on the line, right? There's a million things that run through your head at little times like that, right? Your anger, your frustration, you're disappointed. You're trying to figure out, how do I take blame for this and not get detention, and all of these things. It turns out it all worked out all right, but I learned a very, very valuable lesson. Be where you're supposed to be, right? Tell the people that you need to be there. Right now, I struggle even to today with being where you're supposed to be. Right? Like it's a problem, right? We assume that people know where we're supposed to be. We assume that God knows. Like, hey, I'm supposed to be here today, but I'm skipping out. You know that. So, hey, if you want to bless me, you can find me over here. I wonder how many times I've left a pile of blessing someplace because I wasn't where I was supposed to be. I wonder how many times people came looking for me and I wasn't there, and they had blessing for me. I wonder how many times I missed out on good news. I wonder how many times I missed out on teaching opportunities. I wonder how many times I missed out on whatever it is. Phone calls. Not everybody texts and not everybody leaves a message. So what if I missed out on something? We need to stand, right, on what we know is right. We need to be where we're supposed to be, right? So again, here's the deal. In this moment, Joseph's testing his brothers, and he's found, his brother Benjamin is found to have the silver cup, right? Here's the reaction of the brothers. We're only probably going to get through one verse. It says this: then they tore their clothes, and every man loaded his donkey and returned to the city. Look at the reaction of these brothers. A few years ago, they threw their brother in a cistern and probably listened to his cries. They probably listened to him begging them to please let him out. Those same men saw a caravan coming and they sold their brother. They didn't even give their brother away. They sold him for monetary gain. They took his cloak of many colors and they dipped it purposefully in sheep's blood. And then they went to their father and they told him, your son has been killed by wild animals. They watched their father go through inconsolable, right, mourning. He told them that he would not be able to be consoled, right, over this whole thing. They watched all of that happen and they never, ever opened their mouths. They never said anything until they were standing in front of Joseph a little while earlier, and they admitted, because they thought he didn't understand them, they admitted that they had done it. Right? So he's testing them for character. Here's the results. Right? We're really big on getting to the right place, right, when God tests us. But God is looking for the immediate reaction of the heart. Right? All of us can get someplace with counsel and with people telling us, hey, you need to do this and this and this and good coaching. But David, when he was confronted by Nathan about his sin, immediately responded. Right? Joseph's brothers immediately respond to this. They tear their clothes. They tear their clothes. They know they're innocent. They immediately humble themselves. They know that they're at the mercy of God, and they know that they don't deserve it. What is your reaction when testing comes? Is your reaction, hey, I got this? Is your reaction, hey, I'm innocent, and so I'm going to act arrogant, and I'm going to act like hey, I don't need... Is your reaction humility? You see, the charges can be real, even though the reason for those charges isn't. The enemy can charge you of things. He can say things to you all the time. Hey, this is happening in your life because of this. That's a real charge. How do you react? Do you throw yourselves at the feet of God, right? Or do you figure out how you're going to get out of this? The brothers sold their brother out of anger. It says they were angry about his dreams. They sold him out of anger. But at this moment, they're reacting in humility. They tear their cloaks, and where do they go? They go back into the city. Now, here's the deal. Let me close with this. They think they're going back for punishment. They're going back for restoration. They're going back for reconciliation. They're going back for a chance at a resurgence in life with their brother they thought that they had killed, that they thought that they had gotten rid of. You understand the difference there? There are times when we're meeting God and we think it's about punishment, and God's about ready to reward us for making it through. You see, Job meets God, and God asks him a simple question. Hey, when are you going to answer my questions? Right? And at the end of that, Job realizes who God really is, and he acknowledges that. I thought I knew you, but now I really know you. Right? And he doesn't have a word to say to God. He thinks that God's about ready to give him the wooden paddle, right? He thinks that God's about ready to really let him have it. But what God does is he blesses him double. God said, Job, you made it through the trial. You didn't curse God and die. You didn't change your mind about me. You questioned me, but you didn't leave me. Let me encourage you to do that for people. Real love would allow you to question somebody, but never leave them, right? Real love would have you saying, I don't like what you did. I don't like what you did. It doesn't feel good. It's hurtful. It hurt me. It has consequences. But I am never, ever, ever going to let you go. That's what real love does, right? And that's what God does for us. Hey, we'll see the reunion of Joseph and his brothers next time. Simple truth.